technical difficulties, but now we're back, and we thank God again for you who have joined us here at uh, in our Bible fellowship. I get a little frustrated sometimes because those of you who know me know that technical stuff. I like it to be right. Anyway, we tonight have been talking about foresight, insight, oversight, and hindsight. Foresight, insight, oversight, and hindsight. It is those areas of our lives where we need to be able to see things from every perspective. And when I say every perspective, I mean every perspective. So we're not just looking at things head on, but we're looking at things from above. We're looking at things from below. We're looking at things from the left and the right. We in other words, we're seeking God in order that He can give us the wisdom to be able to see things from every vantage point. Now, before we had that little technical difficulty, I was talking about foresight. Foresight is like looking through a telescope. Um, when you're looking through a telescope, what ends up happening, of course, you can see something from a far distance, but it brings it up close to you. It makes it close and personal. I was using the example of of the men who looked through a telescope and they saw the moon. It brought it close to them. They can envision it. They can see it, and then it motivated them. That vision actually motivated them to be able to build a contraption to be able to get to it. Part of our foresight allows us that opportunity to actually get motivated, to actually just get doing something. I'll never forget um, uh, years ago while in high school. I had the dream of radio and specifically gospel radio, and I saw it. I saw it just as clear as day. A lot of individuals told me that will never work. It will never happen. It'll never come to fruition. It'll just never happen. But I saw it. It was like me looking through a telescope and seeing something that seemed so far off, so far fetched, so out of pocket, but yet the wisdom of God allowed me to be able to see things from different directions. And with that kind of foresight that you have, that being able to envision things, it is very important because now those are the motivating factors of your life. It's not just the motivation of paying your bills or living from paycheck to paycheck. Now you are doing what Proverbs chapter 2, and that's where we were, Proverbs chapter 2. When we get this wisdom, verse number 10, it says this: it enters into your heart, and the knowledge is pleasant unto your soul. So now here you are with something that you don't know much about. You may know a little bit about it, but you don't know a lot about it. But now this thing is entered into your heart. It becomes that motivating factor because now you see the goal. You actually see exactly what it is. And now you begin to gain the knowledge around it. Now, I have to tell this to everyone. Don't get into things that you don't know anything about. Please don't. I don't want you to be out there being a bootleg doctor and you don't know the first thing about the human body. I don't need you to become no bootleg car person, and you don't know what a carburetor is. All right. You don't even know what transmission fluid is. You don't, you don't even know where to put the oil. I don't need you to do that. I need you to grab all of the knowledge that you possibly can. But knowledge is only going to take you but so far. You must also have the wisdom to be able to see things from different perspectives. The part of the foresight is to give you the goal, give you the goal. And so you're looking at it from a distance, but you're seeing it close up and personal through that telescope, and you're saying, doggone it, I want to get that thing. And so that's what foresight is. Now, insight is something totally different because look at verse number 11, Proverbs chapter 2, verse 11. It says, discretion shall preserve thee, and understanding shall keep thee. The insight is like looking through a microscope. There's a big difference between looking at a through a telescope and looking through a microscope. For now, you are finding out all of the intricate parts that play a role in what God has envisioned, given you the vision for. Um, you have to know all of the intricate parts. There are a lot of people say, well, and I'll go there. I want to start a church, okay, but you don't know the intricate parts of it. You know how to do church. You know how to have a church service. Okay, I got you. You know how to sing. You know how to read a scripture. You know how to pray a prayer, and you may be able to teach or preach. Got you. All right. I'm not knocking you, but let's just take it a step further. Now you're talking about operating a public facility. You're talking about being able to sustain this public place of worship. You have insurance that you need to be insured. Yes, you do. All right, because accidents do happen. Not necessarily that anything people are trying to do it purposely, but accidents do happen. You have to know that, okay, if you don't have any tithing members and you have been anointed to preach the gospel to the poor, all right, how are you going to sustain that ministry? You have to know the intricate parts of it. Then you have to look at safety plans. Recently, we've had different shootings at churches. Good God, what is the safety plan? How are you going to protect children now that we have these liberal laws around? You know, and now you're inviting certain individuals into your places of worship. We're not doing checks on everything, but how are you protecting your children as they're walking through the building? These are intricate parts. Yeah, a lot of people can do church, okay, but do you know the intricate parts of it? There's a lot of people who want to be in relationships. All right, it's wonderful to have a relationship if you know the intricate parts of it. And maybe you're not built for that. Maybe that's just not you, and although you may desire it, do you know the intricate parts? How is this thing going to work? Okay, especially if you've been alone for a while, you've been single for a while, and you got into your own way of doing things, and now you're gonna bring somebody else into it, and they're gonna have their own way of doing things, and the two of y'all are just not gonna meet up. I guarantee you, if you don't take the microscope to it and see it. Insight is not just looking into the thing, but also looking into you. You have to look into you, okay, and say, okay, am I prepared? Am I ready to do it? Or if I'm not prepared, what do I need to do to prepare for certain things? What am I going to give up? What are the sacrifices I'm going to make? I've got to do. I need to put a microscope into my life, and I need to say to myself, self, am I really and truly ready for whatever I'm getting ready to get into? You may be talking about getting into a business in 2020. I'm not knocking you, all right, but have you put a microscope to the thing? Jesus taught us this way. He says, when a man goes to build a building, the first thing he does is he counts the cost. And you need to count the cost, because getting into business is not just being your own boss, making your own hours. You got to make your own money. You got to get a hustle about you, and you need to know the intricate parts of that, not only on the outside as it relates to your customers, but you as an individual, because it's going to take an excessive amount of time, a lot of sacrifice. How is it going to affect your relationship? How is it going to affect your family? How is it going to affect your finances if by chance you don't make that sale or you don't get that client, what are you going to do to supplement that income? What is your plan? What is your plan? And on top of that, are you cut in that grain? There are certain things, ladies and gentlemen, I may be perceived as good at, but I'm not good at it at all. Why? Because I can tell you that because I put a microscope to my life, and I have come to the conclusion, John, you're just not good at that. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with saying you're not good at that, but now that you have looked at this DNA, and you have actually seen, okay, in a microscope, what's going on in you. Okay, is this something you can change? Is this something you can correct? Is this something about your discipline? Is this something about your integrity? Is this something about your character? What is it about you that makes you tick? All right, nobody else can tell you but you. All right, and so and if you can use that kind of discretion, okay, putting a microscope onto your life, doing that introspective analysis. If you could just go ahead and get some insight, not just about what you're getting into, but also about you. All right, what makes you tick? What sets you off? Why do you act the way you act? Why, after a while, after one or two or three or four or 10 or 12 failed relationships, you need to stop blaming everybody else, because 9 times out of 10, it's something about you. And you have to say to yourself, okay, it's not them. What is it about me? I'll never forget, as long as I live, I took off. I got in the car, filled it up with gas, and I decided after 20 some odd years that I was going to go visit my sister. I had laid eyes on my sister in 20 years at that particular time. And I made up my mind, I'm going down there. I'm going to go lay my eyes on her. And so I got to the hotel. And I hit her up on Facebook. I said, where are you? What's your address? And she thought I was getting ready to mail her some flowers or something like that. And then I pulled up at the door, knocked at the door. And when she opened up the door, the flowers was me. And we spent that whole day together. And it was during a tumultuous time in my life. And we sat down and we went to a park, and it was beautiful. She lives in Douglasville, Georgia, and that place, oh my God, it's just gorgeous. Anyway, so what had happened was, during this conversation, she says, I'm venting, I'm saying with this, that, and the other thing, and what this one did, what that one did, and oh my God, yada 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 yada. And she says to me, well, you need to look at the common denominator. And that thing went right over my head. It just went right over my head. Why? Because, I'm looking at everything else, and I'm trying to analyze everything else. I'm trying to analyze everybody else. And I'm sitting back, and the common denominator was me. I had to look at myself. I had to say to myself, you want to know something? This ain't everybody else. This is me. Okay? And you have to have that insight about you. You need to know you. All right? So that you can explain yourself to other people so that they don't take you the wrong way. A lot of things that a lot of people do, they don't mean any harm. A lot of things that people say in life, they don't mean any harm. The problem of it is that, people can be perceived wrongly, taken the wrong way. Their body language speaks one thing while their mouth is speaking something totally different. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people don't mean any harm at all. But at the same time, because they can't see themselves, they don't even recognize that they're doing half of the stuff that they're doing. That's why we need to take that introspective look at ourselves, so that we can have discretion, because it will preserve, and then we have an understanding. The best thing you could do in life is understand you. Let me try that one more time. I need to say that, and you need to write that down. The best thing in life you can do is understand you. some years ago, I preached a message, and I believe a series on it was talking about getting in touch with your singleness. And somebody brought it up to my attention that you need to read that. You need to listen to that sermon again. I said, okay, I will. And in essence, sometimes you need to get in touch with you. You need to have that insight about you. Okay, so what is it about you that you like? What is it about you that you don't like? Because if you don't like it, trust me, somebody else is not going to like it. And so the best thing you can do is make a choice to change it if you can. Now, there's some things about you you just can't change. All right, and I that's why I tell most individuals, when you get into a relationship of any sort, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's a business relationship, whatever it is, if you can't love these people for who they are, would you please leave them alone? Or, you can't change anybody. Okay, the only person you can change is you. And then you have the choice to change, number one. And it's going to take some time because you're going to need to discipline yourself out of that. Okay. Having insight about yourself gives you the opportunity to say, I need to change that. I need to correct that. What do I need to do to make that happen? And it may take a minute for you to do so because now you're breaking old habits that, that may have been ingrained in you for a while. And for a long time, you probably didn't recognize it until you've recognized that the common denominator in all of your failures was you. All right. So, insight is so important. And that's why I encourage each and everyone, to do that. All right. It says, again, let's go back to Proverbs 2, verse 12, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man and from the man that speaketh froward things. All right. Now we're talking about oversight and oversight in Greek, in the Greek. So let me see if I can dumb it down. It means to look carefully. And beware. Okay, that's in Greek. That's pretty much what it means. It means you need to. I know you want to go. You want to go into oversight of leaders and yada yada yada. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about. I need you to look carefully and beware. Okay. There are a lot of individuals who may be wonderful people, but they're poisonous. Yeah. Um, and you have to have the oversight to look carefully and to beware so that you are not led astray by these individuals. Okay. They may and those are the type of individuals that you need to keep at a distance. Of course, number two, you shouldn't trust them with a long handle spoon. Um, number three, these are the type of individuals who will always plant negative seeds into your life, and then that's what germinates out of your life. They are manipulators. They are liars. They are deceivers. They can come in sweet as pie one day and make a whole bunch of promises that they have absolutely, positively no intentions on keeping. And you have to look carefully, and you need to be aware. You need to be not just beware, but you need to be aware. Um, Part of that oversight, looking carefully and being aware is so key, ladies and gentlemen, to your happiness, to your peace of mind, um, to you actually being able to reach what you have foreseen. Remember, we talked about foresight. All right. A lot of individuals um, are limited in what they believe. All right. And because of those limitations, they're going to bring forth problems because they can't see the forest for the trees. And the truth of the matter is, the forest is full of trees, dummy. That's what it's supposed to have. But they cannot. They're blinded by their lack of faith, and so um, they become sabotagers of not just themselves, but of their dreams and their aspirations as well. You need to look carefully, and you need to beware. Bible teaches us to trust no man. And so there is only but so much that you're going to be able to give over to an individual until you look real carefully and you beware. And then he kind of gives us some examples of some of these people. All right. And in verse number 14, he says, who rejoices to do evil? Now right there, that's a red flag right there. And that's the person that you just need to stay away from. People who brag about the evil stuff that they do, if they did it to somebody else, they will do it to you. All right. You need to get away from that as quick as you possibly can. You will never get to the place that you have seen. You will never be able to change within yourself. Even if you did all of the introspective and got the insight that you need, if you're not careful, these people will these people these people will bring out the worst in you. Um, and they will and they're looking for every button to press until they find the right one. All right, so they can rejoice about it. And you say, well, Pastor, why in the world would they do a thing like that? Sometimes your demise makes someone feel better about themselves because they don't have much. So they would rather strip you of everything to say, ha ha, look what I did. And the truth of the matter is, materialistic things, they come, and materialistic things, they go. All right. But one thing you can hold on to, and nobody can take that away from you, that's your integrity. Nobody can take that away from you. So you need to you need to be very aware of individuals who rejoice that do evil. And then in verse number 15, he says, whose ways are crooked and they're forward in their path. And in verse number 16, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even the stranger which flattereth with her words. You know, you need to be careful about individuals who are constantly patting you on the back, because eventually they will stab you in the back. You need to be very, very careful about being, lifted up in your ego and your pride through individuals. The Bible teaches us those of us who humble ourselves shall be exalted, and those who exalt ourselves shall be humbled. So I would rather remain humble, and y'all can keep all of that to yourself if you want to, because eventually, you make one wrong move, one wrong mistake, and 1 minute you the best thing since butter on sliced bread, and then the next day, you're not you're not two dirty nickels. So you're going to have to and the only way that you're going to really and truly be able to recognize that is once you do that introspective look into yourself, because there are individuals that I'm talking to right now. You got to need to be needed, all right, and you got to need to be wanted, all right, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin. If you're not comfortable in your own skin, trust me, ain't nobody else gonna be comfortable with you. You need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to be able to be yourself without feeling bad or insecure. You are who you are. God made you who you are, and don't allow circumstances and situations change who you are. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. God made you in his image and his likeness. When we look at you, we are just looking at a glimpse of who God is. And there's something about you, all right, that is unique, And because it's unique, only you can do it. Only you can fit that mold. No, when God made you, He broke the mold. There ain't but one you. And so the best of you needs to come out. The best of you needs to come out. And the only way that is going to really happen, and that's why I'm going back to that insight again, all right? Because it's very, very key that you understand you. What makes you tick? What gets you excited? What makes you get up in the morning? What motivates you? What are the things that you love? And then what are the things that you hate? What makes you have a righteous anger? What are the things that get up under your skin where you just got to do something about it? Those are the type of things that you have to know about you, so that with others, especially those with wicked and evil plots and plans, all right, because they'll be your friend today, but they're not going to be your friend forever. All right, because they really weren't friends. They may have loved what you loved, or they hated what you hated. But in life, you're only going to have a few individuals, very few individuals, who are going to love you for you. And the rest of that, they're just along for the ride. And the reason why they're along for the ride is because, as Bishop Jake said, I believe it was, he said you got constituents in your life, and then you have and what else you have? You have constituents, and then you have comrades, and then you have something else. I can't remember what the other one, but that other third one, whatever it is like a leech. I tell you that much. Anyway, you need to you need you need to be able to protect yourself, all right, from the vermin that can come in and destroy everything. All right, I know this much, is that when we begin to apply wisdom to our lives, we begin to see things from different perspectives, and we can see things not only from the outside in, but also from the inside out, which allows us to apply the wisdom of God on our life. All right, so we talked about foresight, we talked about insight, we talked about oversight. Let's talk about hindsight. Hindsight is reviewing your past experiences, learning from them, and then growing from them. Let's try it again. It's reviewing your past experiences to learn and grow from them. There are a lot of individuals who look behind themselves, and unfortunately, when they get caught up in a yesteryear type of situation, and most people, they only look to the place of their pain. I listen to a lot of young people who talk about their childhood was horrible, and I look at them and they're just as healthy as can be. I say it couldn't have been that horrible, because as big as you are, you did eat. Uh, okay. They talk about experiences that they may have had, and it may have been one moment in their life, but that one moment has defined their entire childhood. One moment does not define a lifetime. All right. The object of that is that particular moment is a moment in time. Okay. Look at that moment, and this is what I need you to do with that moment, even if it's a painful moment. I need you to do two things. I need you to learn, and I need you to grow. I need you to learn. I need you to grow. Go to Proverbs chapter 4. I need you to learn. I need you to grow. Proverbs 4, chapter 7 says this: wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get what? An understanding. And all you're getting, get an understanding. All right? Being in these as a child, um, that was a different era and a different age than what we live in today. Today we have the type of era where pretty much anything goes, especially as it comes down to disrespect. So you got people disrespecting their mama, disrespecting their daddy, disrespecting their grandparents, disrespecting their teachers, disrespecting authorities such as police and judges for that matter. They just no respect for anybody. And I would see in our day and age, um, even in church. There were certain people who were allowed to beat your tail and then take you to your mama, and then your mama beat your tail. Now, don't you touch my child. Da, 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 da. Bunch of drama for no reason. All right. The object of the game back then was respect and discipline. Respect and discipline. There was just certain things that you did. There's certain things you didn't do. There's certain things you said. There's just certain things you didn't say. You know, I mean, even the word hell was a bad word back then, and you better not call nobody a lie. I mean, you get the taste of it slapped out of your mouth. I mean, those were those days, and those days have changed. But there are a lot of people who were traumatized by corporal punishment, the extension cord, or the belt, or the or whatever they were beat with, a spoon, a pot, whatever it was. All right, and they were traumatized by it, and they resent it even to this day in their adult lives. This is what we are finding out that a lot of people are acting out with, and instead of being the type of individuals who have learned from it and grew from it, because they didn't mean to hurt you. They weren't trying to kill you. They were trying to discipline you, or to get you in a place where you would have respect for other people. That was the whole object of the game, and the way that it was done, you may not have agreed with it, and maybe you have gotten away from corporal punishment for your children. But I ascribed, as you spare the rod, you spoil the child, and I didn't kill them. They should learn from it and grow from it. Learn from it and grow from it. The same thing with any thing that has ever happened in your life. You need to learn from it and you need to grow from it. How do I learn? Wisdom is the principal thing. Again, wisdom gives me foresight, insight, oversight, and hindsight. It's going to give me foresight. I can see something afar off. It's going to give me insight. It's going to tell me something about me. It's going to give me oversight, which allows me to look and be aware. And on top of that, it helps me to review certain things that have happened in my past. It allows me to learn from them and grow from them. Being mad about it is not going to get you anywhere. I just thought I'd let you know that. You can be angry all you want, all right, but sin not, all right? And sin not means, okay, you can be angry if you want to, all right? That's not a problem, but don't miss the mark because of it. And there are so many individuals who have had a vision, and they self-sabotage their own selves, okay? They've had the foresight, okay? But unfortunately, because they're angry of the hindsight, okay? They don't learn and they don't grow. All right. They just sit there mad. What does Psalm 1 say about that? Let's go there. Let's go there. We got time. Since we had a little technical difficulty, I can just go on a little bit further, right? It says this. Happy is the man. Blessed means happy. I just thought I'd let you know that. Happy is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. I want you to notice that the first person was walking. The next thing you know, they were just standing. Then the next thing you know, they sitting there mad. Can you see how destructive anger can be? It can slow your entire progress down. It'll put you at a standstill and a halt. to the point where you're just sitting there angry and mad. The whole purpose of hindsight is simple: to learn and to grow. All right? That's why Proverbs 4 taught us, in all you're getting understanding. Okay? So you got a whooping when you was knee high to a grasshopper and it stung and it hurt you and it hurt your feelings and you mad at your parent because they treated you that bad, and you've been saying for years, oh, they just treated me so mean. And the truth of the matter is, the only thing you really did was get a butt whooping. Why don't you have a sit down conversation? You're a grown tail person now, and say, well, why did you do that? And get an understanding. Get an understanding. You know, when we have an understanding about certain things, we can move forward. And many of us are harboring anger and harboring bitterness and harboring our pain. And some of it may be legitimate. I'm not trying to illegitimize how you feel. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to get you to do, okay, is to learn and to grow from it, all right? And the only way you're going to grow is to get an understanding. The last thing you want to do, okay, is for the person to die and you don't have a clear understanding, because now you can't get one at all. All right, and you can sit there and still be mad at the person, but the person is dead now. So I mean, then what? And you got some individuals who are still sitting in the seat of the scornful. Lord have mercy, and the person's dead. All right, come on now. There's not much more you can do with that, okay? Except get over it. Really, it is. All right, because that's all on you now. But while that person is alive, while that person is well, while that person is coherent, while that person is in their right frame of mind, why don't you get an understanding? Okay? And maybe sometimes even the understanding is, you didn't agree with it, and you don't have to agree with it. All right? It's in the past. There's nothing you can do about it, really. Nobody has a rewind button on life. So since they don't have a rewind button on life, there's really nothing they can do about it but to explain it, maybe apologize for it if they feel led to do so, and move on. And all you're getting understanding. Hindsight helps us to learn, okay? Learn why people did some of the things they did. Learn why you did some of the things you did. Because the truth of the matter is, you ain't been perfect either. You need to learn from your mistakes as well, all right? Some of the things you need to go and apologize to some people about. And as a matter of fact, you may need to go look in the mirror and apologize to yourself. What some of the stuff you did to you, all right? Hindsight helps us to learn and grow. There are so many individuals. Oh, thank you, Holy Ghost. There are so many individuals who are upset with themselves and don't even know it. They don't even know it. They're just sitting in the seat of the scornful. They're sitting there just mad with themselves. Can I encourage you tonight? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Come on. You can't love nobody else more than you love you. You can't go around talking about, I forgive everybody, and you haven't even forgiven yourself. Listen, hindsight helps us to learn and to grow. That's the purpose for the journey. That's what God has ordained for our lives to do. And once we have grasped that and learned from it, forgive yourself and forget it. Forgive yourself, yes, Lord, and forget it. Forgive yourself, and forget. I'm going to say it again until it gets all up in your spirit. Forgive yourself and forget it. There are so many individuals. I'm serious. I'm so serious. You're stuck on stuff that you think is fresh, but it is old and stale. I'll prove it to you. So glad you asked. Would you eat meat out of your refrigerator that's been sitting there for 6 months? I hope not. Well, maybe the freezer, but not the refrigerator. I mean, it's got mold on it. I mean, it's looking disgusting and nasty and carrying on. Are you gonna eat that? That's what you're doing on a daily basis. You take this thing out. You eat a little bit of it. It makes you sick because anger used wrongly is sickness. In my opinion, it makes you sick, and that's what you do. You put it back in the refrigerator and let it mold over some more. Then you pull out, you eat of it. It makes you sick again, and you put it right back in the refrigerator. And you already know this stuff is gonna make you sick. You already know it's gonna make you mad. You already know it's gonna make you angry. You already know it's gonna. Could you do me a favor and throw it out, please? I mean, come on. All right, go get you some new. Go get you some new lunch meat. All right, even if you got to borrow somebody else, could you eat something fresh, something new? You know, harboring stuff on a day-to-day basis is draining. Oh my God, it's draining. Trust me, it's draining. And the last thing you need to do is be having situations and circumstances and people live in your mind rent free while they going off doing whatever the heck they want to do. Well, I tell you what, you need to get a life just like they did. And you need to have that kind of life that Jesus promised you. He said, I promised you that you would have life and life more abundantly. I didn't go on the cross and die for you to be sitting around being angry and mad about circumstances and situations that are long gone. I need you to forget it. Paul tells us what? To forget those things which are behind. Reach for those things which are before and press towards the mark of a higher calling of God in Christ Jesus. I don't know who I'm talking to here tonight, but whoever I'm talking to, you need to forget it. I mean, just leave it alone. You take your hands off of it. Matter of fact, not just your hands, take your mind off of it. Take your heart off of it. Forget it. Leave it alone. It's not even worth it. It's not, it really isn't. Life is way too short for you to be sitting around being angry for the rest of your life. And you're wondering why you're sick. You're wondering why you're afflicted. You're wondering why you're still going through the same stuff over and over and over again. You're wondering why you had this vision for your life and you cannot even get the vision for your life. And the reason why you can't get the vision for your life is because you have not did any insight. You haven't did any oversight, and you haven't even did the review on the hindsight. All right, I need for you this week. First and foremost, I want you to get that telescope again. And I want you to look out far. And I want you to see the promises of God. It may seem far away. It may seem far away. The moon was far, far, far away. And they had to get every detail. They had to put a microscope to every detail of that journey to get to the moon. And the reason why is simple. Because you just don't hop into some contraption and go someplace you've never been before and not be prepared. They had to put a microscope to it. They had to figure out all of the intricacies about it. And I mean, there was a lot that was entailed with that, which includes and not limited to, all right, the atmosphere of the moon. How are you going to travel it, and how are you going to propel this contraption to go through a place where there is no gravity? All right, how are we going to feed these people? How are we going? How are their personal needs going to be met? How are how are we going to make sure that they get back safely? If I get them there, how am I going to get them back? All right. Is there anything out there on the moon? I'm looking through the telescope. I don't see anything. But are there inhabitants? Are there creatures? Are there anything that could be a danger? They had to explore every as they put a microscope to it. Okay, and then they did not only just put a microscope to the destination, but they also had to put a microscope to each individual that was going. They had to go through rigorous, I'm gonna get it out. Rigorous. There we go. Rigorous test, physical test, mental test. They had to go through. What do they call that? Simulations of what they predicted was going to happen when it was out there, and actually create some of the trouble in order that they could say, well, this is how you solve the problem. All right, there was a lot of insight that went to it. Not just for the journey itself, but for the person itself, because it's the person that's on the journey. It's not just the journey; it's the person on the journey. And so I got to make sure that the person has the physical and the mental and the emotional and yes, even the spiritual stamina to withstand going from one atmosphere to another. Oh my God, I might as well go there too while I'm at Matt. Do you have the stamina to go from one atmosphere to another? Oh Lord, everybody's talking, they want something from God, all right, and they're expecting something from God. But if God changed that atmosphere, are you ready to actually deal with it? That's the question. Can you handle that kind of atmosphere? If you're an introvert and not an extrovert, yeah, you may desire to be on a stage, but you don't like, introverts don't like people. Or they don't like I won't say they don't like people, but they don't like crowds of people, and so here they are, they're introverted, they like to be by themselves, but here they are surrounded by a whole bunch of people. Or here you are, an extrovert, and now the atmosphere's changed, and you're going to be all by yourself, all right? How are you going to deal with that? You may be able to deal with it physically, but can you deal with it emotionally? Can you deal with it mentally and spiritually? It may drive you absolutely batty. It may. All right. You have to really know that you are prepared, and the only way that you can prepare yourself is to know what you can stand, what you can't stand, what you can take, what you refuse to take, what you're gonna deal with, and what you're not gonna deal with. You have to know those things. And if by chance, all right, there's something that needs to shift in your life in order to prepare you for that next atmosphere, because that next atmosphere, you're not gonna have anything holding you on the ground. You're just gonna be floating up in the air, and if you ain't got nothing to hold on to, nothing tying you down, nothing that you can pull you back, well, you just gonna be floating out in space. Why? Because you weren't prepared for the change of the atmosphere. My God, that was good. Yeah, and the same thing. I see some folks on Facebook go, "Ooh, I can't wait for my husband," and it's coming around Valentine's Day and tax return time, so we know what that's all about, right? Okay, so yeah, all right. But are you ready for that change of atmosphere? Okay, you may be single, all right, but the person that you meet, all right, it may be them and 4 kids. All right, that's a change of atmosphere. Oh yes, that's a change of atmosphere. And let me add, let me make it worse. All right, and so it's a single person with 4 kids and 4 baby daddies. That's gonna be a real change of atmosphere now, isn't it? Are you ready for that? Yeah. If you're not ready for that, then I need you need to do some introspective work on yourself. You need some insight into you, all right, so that you know that although it may, he that findeth the wife findeth a good thing, it may not be a good thing for you. Are you understanding what I'm saying? All right. Uh, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. And then again, man, I hit on that insight thing real hard, didn't I? Oversight again. Oversight is to do what? To be careful, to look and be careful. Carefully look and be aware. There we go. And if you don't do that, oh my God, you may run into a world of trouble that you did not anticipate, you did not prepare yourself for, and now you're going to be playing catch up. Doesn't mean that it's over, because it's not. All right, everybody makes mistakes, and everybody, uh, you know, doesn't grasp onto wisdom as they should. Um, and sometimes, the circumstances and situations that you may be in at the particular point in time, you may sometimes think you're ready for something that you're really not. Um, and you need to tell yourself you're not ready for that. You need to tell yourself, I see it, but it's a long way off, and I need to prepare for it. Um, and then I need to be careful. I need to be careful. I need to be careful. And then finally, review your past experiences. Hindsight, again, hindsight. Review your past experiences. It is so imperative that you learn and grow from every experience. Moments in time that crop up in your mind, what did you learn from it? Have you grown from it? If you haven't learned from it, you need to get an understanding. If you haven't grown from it, then I think you need to be planted a little longer. How about that? All right? You don't need to be nobody's harvest if you're not ready. If you're not ready to be harvested. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You need to be planted a little longer. Woo! Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Um, okay, so this is what I'm going to need you to do. I'm going to need you to get your telescope. I want you to look out. I want you to then look in. I then want you to look around. All right. Then I'm going to tell you, you get this one moment and one opportunity to look back, just so that you can review your past experiences, learn and grow from them. I've enjoyed this tonight. I am hoping and praying that it's been a blessing to those of you who have been with me on tonight. Again, as we stated before we had the technical difficulty, we are praying for the Porter family and the loss of evangelist Stacy Porter, childhood friend, and that has gone on to be with the Lord. And we're praying for her mother and her sisters during this time, and to all of you who know a word of prayer, whether you knew Stacy or not. Um, she was a character for sure, and lovable, lovable, sweet soul, very helpful, and she suffered for a while, but God has now given her the freedom from this body so that she can be in the presence of the Lord. And so I encourage you, would you please so kindly pray for their family during the hour of bereavement. And then, speaking of prayer, on February 8th, at Fellowship World, 878 Humboldt Parkway, Buffalo, New York, we will be having a special Saturday morning prayer. We're uniting together. We believe wholeheartedly that when we touch and agree, that there He is in the midst. And that's who we want to talk to. We're not coming there to preach to you or sing to you or entertain you at all. This whole the time of prayer is just that, a time of prayer, of communicating with God, and then sitting back for a moment and allowing Him to speak back to us. Prayer is a two-way communication street, and many of us are doing a whole lot of talking and not a lot of listening. And that's why we are not we're one of the reasons why we can't apply the wisdom of God to our lives. So I encourage you to put that on your calendar. We'll look forward to seeing you. You are always welcome to worship with us at Fellowship World. We're again located at 878 Humboldt Parkway in the city of Buffalo, New York. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you, as you all, those of you who are members, and those of you who are partners, and those of you who are followers, you all know that we are in the final stages of paying off our mortgage at our church, and I need your help in order to make that happen. It's not a lot of money, but it could be a lot of money if we don't have your help. All right, and so I'm asking each and every one of you to seek God and give your most greatest gift. If you are online, you can visit our webpage, bishopyoung.com or myfellowshipworld.com, and you can give online. For those of you who have Cash App, you can always Cash App using the hashtag fellowshipworld. And if you don't trust the internet at all, I tell you what, you can always mail, and that is 878 Humboldt Parkway, Buffalo, New York, 14211. That's 878 Humboldt Parkway, Buffalo, New York, 14211. I hope this has been a blessing to you. If it has, I tell you what, why don't you like our Facebook page? Why don't you visit and sign up for our newsletter on our websites? And make sure that you tune in again for another edition of Bible Fellowship each Tuesday right here on the Roku network, as well as YouTube and Facebook and all of our websites. And so I just appreciate you. I love you. I appreciate you for all that you have done. Father, we bless you. We thank you. We love you because you are so good. You're so kind. You're so wonderful. All the things you have done are so marvelous. And so, oh God, I help us to be completely focused, to have foresight, to have insight, to have oversight, and to have hindsight, so that we can learn and grow, and that we can be all that you have ordained us to be. And now, oh God, as we leave from this place, we are definitely not dismissed from your presence, but kept in your care. In the name of Jesus, we pray. All of God's people said, amen. You all have a great night.